going to call to order at 6:08 the Board of Education regular meeting for Wednesday, December 17th. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Ms. Kapienka, here. Mayor Carbone, here. Mr. Hinman.
Here.
Mrs. Honer, here. Mr. Kisco.
Here.
Mr. Nargi.
Present.
Mr. Knight.
Here.
Ms. Richardson, here. Mr. Tebow.
Here.
Mr. Trout.
Here.
Ms. Air. Here. Mr. Becerra.
Here.
Mr. Campolita.
Here.
Ms. Clarko. Here. Ms. Lebowski. Here. Mr. Cotter.
Here.
Student representative.
No.
Where'd he go? This guy.
Ellie.
Okay. School community session. Board invites members of the community to speak on topics to be addressed in the agenda or on other topics of interest. Individuals wishing to make comments are requested to fill out the speaker sign-up sheet, including your name and address, which must be stated at the beginning of your comment. The board will not allow comments regarding specific staff members or personal grievances. Courtesy is expected in this limited public forum. Participating time will be limited to 3 minutes per person and 10 minutes overall. And I understand we have no one signed up.
Do not IT?
Okay. Move on into the system. Introduction of a new board member. I received a communication from the Democratic Town Committee that they have made a recommendation of, you want to be James or Jim?
Jim.
Jim Lemoyne. Jim Lemoyne was born and raised in Torrington. He's from the class of 1983. He attended Post College for an associate's in accounting and a bachelor of science degree in accounting. He has 2 daughters, Rebecca and Kelly, that both went through the Torrington school system. Both kids were very active in school activities and sports. He supported them in their teams. Through the school years, he was active in the East School PTO, the Middle School PTO, the High School PTO. With both the kids in sports and PTO, he was very active throughout the community in fundraising and helping kids on the teams succeed. He's currently serving on the Torrington High School School Governance Council as a community leader. For a work profession, while he was at school, he worked full-time at Tandy Radio Shack. He then changed after graduation to CBSI, an information technology consulting company. He was a regional manager from Montreal to Texas to the Mississippi, like your frequent flyer model. He then moved on to Edible Arrangements in Wallingford as their IT and Director of Technology. He's currently at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, where he is also the IT Director. Correct? Got it so far. Why he wishes to become a board member. I added things here, but I don't know if I should read those. With learning the requirements of both special needs and accelerated students through his children, he has kept up to date to make sure that the children have what they need to have a fighting chance to advance. He believes that the system should work for the children and what is in their best interest. The school system should be an extension of the home learning and then reverse. We've seen many changes to our community, and with that there is a need to continually change both our thought process and how we look at small and large problems and then help improve our children. Hopefully, he can bring in what I see on a daily in my job and help steer us through the process towards the future of our kids. I kind of messed that last part up, but welcome, Jim. That's Mr. Lemoyne. All those in favor of Mr. Lemoyne? All those opposed? Discussion? All right, unanimous. Now welcome, Jim. All right. We're going to swear you in, and then you get to take a seat up here and move on.
You're not going to hear this.
That's all right.
You solemnly swear and affirm that you will faithfully discharge, according to law, your duties as a member of the Torrington Board of Education to the best of your abilities, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury. Congratulations, welcome. Join us.
Approval of the agenda. We have to make some amendments.
To recommend that we amend the agenda to add the following discussion and action items: the capital plan, energy efficiency, and the budget transfers.
I'll second.
So, all right, informational sharing F will be the capital plan, capital budget. G will be the energy efficiency. Under action items,
We need to the budget transfers.
are you going to make that a discussion as well? Okay, I'm sorry. H, budget transfer.
One of them goes 1, 2, 3. And then business services report.
We can do that. Make E3 budget transfers, and then just have F and G. Then under action items, we'll have C, D, and E. No, because that's consent agenda. C will be capital, D will be energy, and E will be transfers. Okay, that was seconded by Mr. Knight. Discussion?
Yeah, where is that, all the literature pertaining to those items?
They were just approved through budget approximately 9 minutes ago, and they will be passed out to you right now. Because the budget meeting wasn't able to be held because of the cancellation, and it was rescheduled for today. Any other discussion?
When did they draft the capital plan? When was it drafted?
I don't have the date on that. I know we got it in the budget today.
This one goes just like last year, and then for next year was just a build off of the 5-year plan.
Yeah, it was amended last week to,
It was the budget, the capital budget from last year with the addition of the year added on to it, the 5th year up.
the 4 years were on last year's, all moved up. This is a 5-year plan. All those in favor? Opposed? Andrew, are you in favor?
Yeah, put my hand up.
Okay, that's right, I can see it. All right, unanimous. Okay, informational sharing. We have no students report. Superintendent's report.
Okay, first I would like to ask Mr. Dan Hodges to come forward, please. Hodgkins. I'm sorry, Dan. I know your last name. And please sit for a minute or whatever makes you feel comfortable. It gives me great pleasure on behalf of the Torrington Public School community to recognize you this evening and to acknowledge you and Ms. Torrington Middle School Band Director. And you have been selected as the Connecticut representative for School Band and Orchestra Magazine, 17th annual 50 Directors Who Make a Difference. To say that that is a humongous award is being very simple, right? Because this represents some of the best music educators in our 50 states, and that you are representing Connecticut is just absolutely outstanding. These outstanding band and orchestra directors, I was told, are nominated by their readers, including current and former students, peers, other band and orchestra directors, and colleagues, students, present and past, and parents. So to receive this award, to be nominated, and then to receive it, to be recognized in every possible way by anyone that you come in contact as a professional musician and a professional educator, to be recognized among your colleagues, but also those that you serve on a daily basis. It's just a great honor. And so that you will be in the select company of 49 other band or orchestra directors and be recognized in the forthcoming months. I just want to say congratulations. Thank you for, first of all, the work you do on a daily basis. That most important of all. And second of all, that we're really proud of your investment in the children in Torrington and just the public schools in general. Thank you very much, Ann.
Thank you.
Dan, what would you like to say?
Really, I just want to, I'm very grateful to be part of a community that really supports what I do and really values music education. I've never come across any walls as far as support from the community, from the board, or from the parents or the administration. So it's a wonderful community. I'm very happy to be part of it, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh,
very
thank you.
much. Greatly, you just, the elementary music teachers warm them up. You carry them through those critical middle school years so they can go on and to do the outstanding work they're doing in the high school. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you for having me. I have you now.
I just put an article in your packets this year, just to give you some idea what they're debating this month, just so that you can see what they're debating at the state about really broadening how schools will be valued. It just won't be academic, and test performance, but they'll really look at the overall growth that our public schools are making in many other areas. So that was just for something for you to read at your leisure. I do have a PowerPoint, but I did put the full piece in your packets on Southeast. Why, how, if, and when. Can I start and you can just catch up? Okay. Currently, right now, we do have 3 challenges facing Torrington Public Schools. First is, as I brought to you early in the spring, the demographic imbalance at East School and Vogel-Wetmore schools. Our second challenge is that we have preschool programs for children with special needs where students are not in classes with non-disabled peers. And the other piece is that currently 1/2 of our incoming kindergarten children do not have an quality early childhood education experience. And so that means that they come to school not as well prepared as their counterparts. They do not have the readiness skills to be successful learners, and it has to start from the first day that they enter kindergarten. So what I would like to show you tonight is a plan that I have that will bring us into compliance with the first two pieces that I mentioned, with the first two challenges, and then with the last piece is how we can also improve the quality of the readiness of the children entering our kindergarten classes. So let's take a look at the demographic imbalance at East School and Vogel-Wetmore. First of all, imbalance is a 15% or more or less than the comparable district proportion. Right now, our district rate or proportion of minority and majority students is about 33%, 32.98%. Right now, East School is 17.47. I'm giving you the numbers from the state, but it's about 17.5% less than the district rate, and Vogel-Wetmore is 16% more than this rate. And so when you look at that, combining these two buildings and developing movement between these two buildings could make our demographic balance, it'll bring us right in line with the 32%. The possible solution is that we could transfer 94 students from Vogel-Wetmore to East School for the 2015-2016 school year. With a review of students who are attending Vogel-Wetmore, I identified 12 streets in the southeast corner of Torrington where we could shift students. What you should know is that the 12 streets that were identified prior to the last total redistricting of the town, those streets, the students residing on those streets did attend East School. And in the redistricting, I think it was 8 or 9 years ago now, it was shifted down to Vogel. How Vogel-Wetmore would benefit, it would be that they would have 5 classrooms less, and their enrollment decrease of about 110 to 115 students, beyond the 94. East School would have 5 classrooms more of students, and enrollment would increase anywhere from 94 to 115 students. If you take a look at the next page on the possible solutions, what would happen by transferring the 94 students? And this was based on our enrollment data as of November 1st. When you look currently in the light shade, it shows currently what the numbers are of children on each grade level and the total population for East, and with the transfer, what the total population would be for next year. And if you would look, the way it would move, because right now I use the students who are residing on those 12 streets, and this is the difference it would make. So right now we have 63 children at East in kindergarten, and with the number of kindergarten children who are located on those 12 streets, we would now have 75 first graders for next year. So if you could look, you would see how East School's population would increase by each grade level as you look across. In the last two, in the lighter shade and then the darker shade, it's Vogel-Wetmore in gray this year, gives you the numbers by grade level for a total population, and then it shows how it would be reduced by each grade level. So this year we have 76 kindergarten, next year it would be reduced to 64 first grades. 64 first graders. Grade 1 currently has 86. They would be reduced to 68 second graders. So that's how you can see how the numbers would change, and then how the total populations, you would see, would almost reverse themselves, with East becoming 462, and Vogel-Wetmore would be reduced to 360. Okay, it's orange on there. The next steps that we would have to do, once we've identified the streets and the children, is we would have to meet with parents and explain, because parents need to understand that the resources that they receive at Vogel would follow them to East. The services follow the children. And that faculty and staff from Vogel, some faculty and staff will have to transfer to East School. The other piece is that the pre-K special education programs at East School would have to transfer down to Vogel. So even though we have 5 rooms exchanging, we would still be filling them back up. The piece that we're hoping for, though, and I'll explain this later, is right now they're half-day programs, and we have about, I'm trying to think, we have about 20 children. So we only have 4 to 5 children in each classroom, and we would like to be able to change those 4 half-day programs into 4 full-day programs for the preschool. And this would be with the help of the grant we received. And with it, though, have students who are non-disabled join these children. We are out of compliance by keeping these children by themselves in a program. You have questions for me?
No, I was thinking aloud, I'm sorry.
Okay, oh, no, it's okay. So the programs that would go back to Vogel too is that we have a family resource center there, which is operating out of offices, and they would gain some of their space back. We have family play groups and parent time, which is now operating pretty much around the city. That would go back down to Vogel. We would offer pack time, which is parents and children together, and we'd also provide a home base office for the teacher of talented and gifted, because right now she's working out of the trunk of her car because she goes to all 5 schools, but it would give her at least an office. So that's other things, because with going to full-day kindergarten, we've really pushed a lot of our supportive programs out of the schools. Current faculty and staff would be required to either voluntarily or involuntarily transfer to East School. The pre-K special education program at East School would transfer to Vogel-Wetmore temporarily until Southeast School can be renovated. Programs relocated due to, again, implementation of full-day K would also be restored to their original space.
I do have a question regarding moving special education students to Southeast School.
You mean, could you say that again, please, Bill?
Sure. I do have a question for you. You were just mentioning moving special education students to Southeast School when it became available.
I'm going to get to that. Could you just give me maybe 2 more minutes?
I don't know. I thought you were mentioning it now.
We have an option, okay? And I'll explain how we would do it if we could move it to Southeast, but it also includes some major renovations to Southeast, which is in the capital for next year. But anyways, the second, so that would be the first challenge with the demographics. And there would be, I met with the bus company, there would be no increase in transportation because the students who are from those 12 streets, those are already runs, and it would just be a matter of transporting them to Vogel, or to East School rather than to Vogel School. Because, we're gonna have to add a run, or, we don't have to do that. We wouldn't have to add teachers with the change from Vogel to East, because we would transfer within.
Wouldn't we be eliminating runs?
As
You're
a-
talking about doing it as a full day thing, right? As opposed to half day.
I'm just talking about, let's leave the early childhood piece out right
Okay,
now.
okay.
Okay, just transferring the children from Vogel, K-5 from Vogel to East.
Okay,
No added runs and no,
I'm with you.
okay.
Can I just ask a question? Originally, I thought we were waiting till the end, but what is the demographic percentages currently?
And Torringford, I don't think I have it here with me tonight, Fiona.
I mean, because.
No, I can give you the state report. No, I don't, I know I don't have it with me. But Torringford's in good shape.
Right, but I guess what I'm thinking, I mean, we know we have far more capacity at Torringford than what we actually have, based on the whole construction project and the number of students that Torringford could fit. So why wouldn't we look at Torringford, because it wouldn't disrupt many things? Because they physically have the room for more students.
Because they're balanced demographically and East is not. And if we move the children from Vogel to Torringford, East would still be demographically imbalanced, and Torringford would shift to not being in compliance.
I mean, I've been to East, I can't envision where East would absorb 100 kids. And when you're
but I
talking
did-
about what would go down to Vogel, I mean, how many classrooms at East is the pre-K taking?
Right now, 3. And and I've walked through with, with Sue Ferguson, and we've identified 3 other rooms that we could, would be shifting pieces, classrooms and what they're used for. One thing about a good principal is that they'll fill every nook and cranny. And then when you look and what could be shifted or changed or, needs to be done, there can be an adjustment in what classrooms are used for.
Excuse me. When, on challenge, have you answered? On challenge 1, demographic imbalance at East School and Vogel Wetmore, you say East School is 17% less, Vogel Wetmore is 16% more. Yet when you, based on the numbers that you show shifting, I see a shift closer to 25% from both increases and decreases.
Because no, the numbers are by
It's a
majority.
minority number.
The percentage here is not the number of students. The percentage of being 17% less and 16% more.
17% means there's 17% less minorities that would make that district compliant.
Yes.
Yet you're going to shift that population by 25% into that school district.
We're not shifting just minorities, we're shifting kids, but you have to look at the percentage of the kids on those streets that are minority. So you need 32% to have a balance. And East is currently 17% low.
Right.
So by moving 94 kids, there's a certain amount of them that will be minority. We'll bring the 2 schools within you have to be within 15%. So you're only off by 2%.
But you're not shifting of those students that will be of that 110 increase or say 100 that's being increased. You're saying that 100 is not necessarily minority students.
They're not all minority. Some are.
But you're just doing it not random. Yeah, you're doing it randomly into
You're doing
a
streets.
neighborhood.
You're doing a neighborhood. You're taking this neighborhood and moving it. And by moving that neighborhood, that balances the numbers that you need.
Okay, I'm
When I, no,
saying
when I
what you're
looked,
saying now.
I looked at the students who would be entering first through fifth grade next year, because our fifth grade will be going on to sixth. And, you know, what grade and what their race is. And so it would bring the balance.
Does this stem from the Chef versus O'Neill court case?
It's racial imbalance. Chef versus O'Neill is pretty much more for Hartford and the 36 surrounding towns. This is just watching demographic imbalance across the state. It came from the state as a warning 2 years ago. It came back again in the spring. And given that we have the special ed concern as well, I was trying to take a couple of problems that we're dealing with and do something that would solve both, you know, all three problems simultaneously, rather than just looking at it as, you know, separate, fixing this one, and then saying, oh, no, we've got to change again, trying to look down the road and looking at the district holistically.
Jess has a question.
For point of clarification, in your presentation, you used the phrase imbalance. That when I read the letter that was given out at the June meeting, pursuant to the racial statistics, my understanding of this is not that we are imbalanced, but that we have an impending imbalance, which, if I'm understanding it properly, would mean that we are not required to shift. We're just being made aware of the fact that in the future we may need to. Am I correct in that understanding?
For now, yeah, yes.
So we're not required to make any changes.
Correct.
But it's much better that you do a change before the state asks you to do it, because then you have to do it how they tell you to do it. And at least now, if I get questioned, I can say there's a plan in place. And the major piece with the board always is for no cost or low cost. And right now, I think we could do this for very little money.
Do we have reason to believe that these statistics are going to change drastically enough for us to be forced to make that change?
Yes.
What is that based on?
It's based on the percentage of our children that have risen in the district in the past 5 to 10 years of our population. It's based on our free and reduced lunch, because they don't just look at racial, they look at all your subgroups. So it's based on race, it's based on second language learners, it's based on free and reduced lunch, so yes.
I noticed that online we have the figures for 2013, which is what we're, and then the ones for 2012. And there was a slight increase. East School for 2012 was at like 16-something%, and now it's 17-something%. And Vogel went up like 3 percentage points. But Forbes School actually went down. Forbes School was at 10%, and now it's at closer to 9%. So there is a possibility of fluctuation, it seems to, not necessarily always increasing.
Vogel, and you're right, and Vogel fluctuates 30% of its population every year.
Yeah. So this is merely a proactive measure that's being suggested.
To go back to what I was asking about. So the neighborhood that you're going to move a whole neighborhood that is at Vogel Wetmore to East School, because you picked that neighborhood out. And what was the criteria that you used for that one specific neighborhood?
Prior to the last redistricting that the board did, 2007, the 12 streets that were selected were once part of the East neighborhood. Those children, prior to 2007, on these 12 streets, attended East School.
And their demographics are such that they create an imbalance within that district to the entire school district?
They would help
In
fix the
relation to-
imbalance that we
Meaning
have.
that those neighborhoods, those 12 streets that you talked about have a higher capita group of minority students in them, or it's
No.
just random?
They were part of the East School District, they were removed from East School. There's
Yeah.
currently a racial imbalance at East School, and there's a racial imbalance at Vogel Wetmore. And if you take those 12 groups and you move, or 12 streets, and you move them to East School, it would reduce the imbalance, the overbalance you have at Vogel, and it would increase the underbalance that you have at East. Not necessarily equaling them off, but getting you within the parameters the state sets of 15%.
And the neighborhood in the East School, what was the criteria of those streets that you're moving to Vogel Wetmore?
We're not
None
moving
are leaving
anyone
East.
from, no one's leaving East.
Oh, there's not going to be any students coming from East School down to Vogel Wetmore? It's just an increase?
Not in this proposal.
Yes, there is. Sorry. She's proposing moving 4 special ed classrooms.
Pre-K special
Those are
ed.
district-wide.
But those are district-wide
But they're
kids.
housed at East.
Yes.
So you'd be moving them from East to Vogel Wetmore. So yes, there is some students moving, but they're not regular education students.
Right, not based off of residency.
Right.
John?
What are the 12 streets?
I can get it to you, John. I don't, it's down South Main and to the left, what is it, Bridge? I've got them all.
Palmer Bridge, Park Avenue, Clarence,
Yes.
Linden.
There's, I've got them all. I can get them to you. I don't think I brought them tonight.
Just wondering, what was the reason for having them at East School when we had them at East School? And then what was the reason for moving them to Vogel when we moved them to Vogel?
I was not here part of that redistricting. I'm sorry.
Just,
I know part of the reason, I wasn't on the board then, but when they did the renovation to Southwest School, they had to have a certain number of students at Southwest, and if they didn't, they were gonna have to repay part of the grant that they received to do the work at Southwest. So the previous superintendent came up with this plan to get more students into Southwest, and then taking students out of Forbes, putting them to Torringford to try to solve the problem of the under-enrolled students at Torringford after the construction.
right, that was for the Torringford construction project, they needed to move kids to
So
Torringford.
basically, this is, we're being said we're racially out of line, which means that we are classifying Hispanic kids as different from Anglo kids, white kids, European white
The
kids.
state group students by race and ethnicity, by socioeconomics, by, trying to think, there's like 5 different, there's like 5 different categories, because it's always the breakdown, like when an assessment comes back, special education. And so when we look at students and their performance, academic performance, they break them down into all the subgroups.
As part of the one-size-fits-all state philosophy.
Or that everybody's getting their fair share, I guess is how we might look at it. Is that regardless of socioeconomics, race, culture, everybody is receiving the best opportunity to succeed academically.
What is the plan to you're moving 4 pre-K special ed class or I guess you're proposing to do that. What is the plan to integrate them with non-disabled students and how will that educate them in the most appropriate and least restrictive environment?
Well, it's because right now, they're in classrooms by themselves. They're in 2 half-day programs, and it's 4 classrooms. By moving them from East, well, first, that we maintain the demographic balance, but then the second piece is that these children would then be moved into 4 classrooms. They could be full day, and that we could also open those classrooms up to other children within the community who are not having an early childhood experience. And this would allow for the children to have, and we just received a major grant, over $1 million to make this happen within the district. And so then this would allow, we would be more compliant, in compliance with the state, and that we would have children without disabilities in the classroom, with our children who are receiving support services. Right now, we are mandated by the state of Connecticut to provide service for children with special needs beginning at 2 years, 9 months. And we have to develop a program. We service these children, and Yvette, where's Yvette? How many do we have?
Right now we have 64, I believe.
Six.
Yeah, and then the referrals even, they continue to come in. Actually, it's 64 referrals right now, and in the vicinity of 90 or so.
Yeah, so I thought we were close to.
Yeah.
So right now, preschool, between the ages, well, 3 to 5 right now, we're servicing about 100 students, and we have 64 referrals. That will, and how we serve them, multiple ways. The first way that we serve them is that the parents can bring them to their neighborhood school and receive the services that they need. It might be speech and language, OT, PT, whatever they need, and they bring the child, stay, and then go home. The second way that we service children is that if they are located in a preschool in Torrington, an OT, PT, teacher, who, whatever they need, goes out to the preschool that they're in. The third way that we service children is that we have 2 classes at Head Start, and we have a special education teacher who co-teaches with a regular education teacher in Head Start classrooms. And again, services, ancillary services, speech, OT, PT, will go and service a child there. And the fourth way we service children is within our schools in self-contained programs. So that's how we are servicing the 100 children who are currently identified.
And right now, we're not in compliance. Did I understand that correctly?
We are not, technically, we are not in compliance with our self-contained programs.
When did the district learn that it was not in compliance?
We knew this year because as we went back and looked at how we were servicing, this has not come to the states, to get a letter yet. But when Ms. Aird came on board and we started looking at our in-district programs, we realized, in an effort 3 years ago to maintain children in district and to provide services, we established these preschool classrooms. And it just grew faster than we realized, and that's how we became.
And we've been out of compliance since the inception of the program?
No, I would say within the last year.
Can I ask a silly question? We're supposed to be talking about the Southeast school design, and we, I think, got way away from that discussion, because you were going to explain to us where Southeast is, the grant that was received, and how Southeast would be funded and used. And I think that this is going down a path that we're not really dealing with Southeast school.
Can I just because the other main driver of the redistrict was the removal of the Florida school portables. I can't believe I forgot that.
Well, that was in the Torrington renovation, they built the capacity to get rid of those. But, and if we could allow the superintendent to finish, because when we get to the capital plan, we're going to propose renovating East School this coming year, which is going to make all of this a moot point, because all those kids are going to leave that building. So we're having a lengthy debate on a building we're going to talk about later of closing for 3 years. So,
I didn't know that was going to get off the ground.
well, if it isn't this year, it'll be next year. It's on our agenda to renovate East School, and if we're going to move 94 more students to East School, that only means that many more we have to displace in a year.
Well, without getting the answers to my questions, with all due respect, Mr. Chairman, it's hard for me to make an informed decision when it does come down to it.
Understood.
Bill, did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Oh, okay. All right, so what happened? Again, coming before the board tonight, take a look at the possibility of renovating Southeast School. We could, in your packet, you'll see a status of Southeast grants. Last year, when we brought the project before you, we, well, I have Joe and David, if you want to first see what we're proposing. Do you want to review that?
Well, I think there was, and one of the reasons I had asked for this is I'm hearing confusion among board members of what the actual plan for Southeast School currently is. Because it's through the newspaper and through a public forum that meets once a month down there, it seems to be evolving into something that we weren't shown back when it was originally presented. So I think that the board would like to know what the plan for the school is from the educational aspect.
Okay, it would definitely be 4 to 6, well, actually 6 classrooms for early childhood education, that it would be for both children. You want to bring it forward? It would be for children. We could take our current 4 classes at East School and move it to Vogel, and then we would be able to do a lottery to have children with special needs be with their non-disabled partners. We would have 4, you want to show the 4 classrooms first of all.
4 classrooms on the west side of the building, back side of the building. These are the 4 that talk about, renovating as classrooms. And then the 2 in front would be library, media room, and multipurpose.
Because you need a place, there isn't a lot of room for gross motor, so we would need a space for gross motor and also a library for children. So that's what we would do with the 6 classrooms. Gym, we left as the gym, it's wide open, but not really an appropriate place for, 3 and 4-year-olds to be playing, and plus we'd have to do a lot to make it safe in there. So we're looking at those 6 classrooms. In order to defray the cost of Southeast after last year, Donna Labby and her team started going after money, any money that we could find. And so in your packet, you'll see the status of the Southeast grants, because what it would cost.
What is the status?
Hold on for 1 sec. Michael, do you have the extra page we can give? Oh, corrected it one more time. What you have before you is an estimated cost and the items that, well, it's the items that need to be repaired, an estimated cost, and resources that we have pursued to cover the cost. As you can see, we have 1 major grant still pending, a second one for hazardous material abatement pending, and we received a huge grant from the state just last week And I brought with you all the requirements of it, but it would pay for most of the operations. It would pay for teachers' salaries, it would pay for any materials, $25,000 for materials and upgrade to the classroom. It would pay for buses, if we had to provide transportation for the children. It would provide for a lunch program, a secretary. It would pay for an administrator to be there. It would pay for everything to operate the building. It would not, we're still limited in what we have for repairs to the building, because we still need a parking lot and driveway update, exterior repairs to the roof, hazardous material abatement, create an office and, office renovations, repairs to the gymnasium, main restrooms renovated, student bathrooms renovated, a kitchen, stage lift for accessibility to the stage, and then mechanical, electrical, security upgrades. What we have, we've been able to, the total cost is $3,589,000. The funding received to this point to upgrade is $462,000. That would bring current cost to $3,127,000. If we went for a grant, a state grant for renovation, it would reimburse the city for reimburse the city 72%, which would be for $2,278,332. And then the total cost for renovating the school would be $848,668.